before we go into the castle, just like a little bit of information about it. It's obviously called Richmond Castle, and the castle was built almost 1,000 years ago. And it was built by Alan Rufus, a cousin of William the Conqueror. So if you've heard of him, it was his cousin. Just shortly after the Norman conquest. Just read what it says here. It says, so the castle represents Alan's great power in the north, a region then prone to rebellion and invasion. Invasion by the Vikings. Alan ran his estates from Richmond Castle and kept an eye on Cumberland, which was under Scottish control. He probably also enhanced his political position throughout his relationship with Gunhild, the Gunhild of Wessex. And just show you a picture of him. Apparently that's what he looks like. And she was the Princess of Wessex, for those of you that have watched Vikings. You'll know some stuff about, obviously, Wessex and stuff like that. So, yeah, pretty awesome. Okay, so we are entering Richmond Castle, which is nearly 950 years old. As you can see, it's proper old. Wow. So in front of me is the well for the castle. The well was the source of water in the castle. It was expensive to build and maintain, but for our aristocratic households, i.e. the posh geezers who live here, it was important to have a secluded well away from the hustle and bustle of the dirty town, which, is over yonder. So I suppose they wanted their own well, because back in the day, disease and stuff like that would come out of the town well. So if they had their own well on site, as it were, or in the castle, then they could maintain it, clean it, and keep it disease free as much as they possibly could. Because let's be honest, back in 1,000 years ago, there was stuff like smallpox, the Black Death.
Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead!
All that type of stuff. COVID-1, if that's a thing. But yeah, there's the well. I mean, for such a big bloody castle, it's only a small well. I mean, look, as you can see. It's got a pumpkin in there now, but it goes down pretty far. But when you think about who's going to be drinking from that well, it'll only be the lord and lady of the manor, as it were. So they'll be the ones drinking out of that well. But yeah, there's the well. Let's have a wander around some more. So what's this? What have we got here? So there we go, St. Nicholas Chapel. This small chapel in Robin Hood Tower dates to the 11th century and has a rare survival of an early castle chapel. The congregation sat in the seats formed by pillars, capitals and arches. Expansive coloured window glass imported from northern Germany was installed in the 16th century. The name Robin Hood Tower is a romantic Victorian innovation. So this was the church, or the castle church, as it were. I mean, as you can see, the architecture is just to be able to sit there on the pews, and then obviously pews would run either side, and as it said there, that would have been a stained glass window looking out over, well, not even looking out for stained glass, but that would have been the altar, I'm guessing. It's only small, isn't it? You know what I mean? You can imagine all the posh people that used to come in here, all the lords and ladies, knights and stuff. Wow. So there's the entrance to the outer wall. So if you can, it comes up there and goes to the outer wall up there. So obviously for the bow and arrow guys and lookouts and stuff like that. And this would be another, I'm guessing, another way in, passage. The place is bloody old, man. It's like really old. It's amazing. I mean, I've no idea what the hell that was or would have been. But yeah, you can see the passages that go up to the top there, to the fortifications. You can imagine the knights and the arrow men, going up. There's the latrine, toilet. So that would have been the toilet, as it says there. So probably the toilet for the guards, for all the troops. So this looks like more, still more intact. I mean, there's a bloody door still up there, look at that. It's crazy. So this is apparently Scotland's Hall in here. So let's go check it out. Wow. Jesus. You can imagine the banquets and stuff that used to go on in here, and maybe when the king visited or...
Hello!
Hello? Who is it?
It is King Arthur, and these are my knights of the Round Table. Whose castle is this?
or whatever. This is where they'd be a big long table right down the middle there, and everyone would be sat around. There'd be, fire sticks on the wall to light the place up, bloody big chandeliers hanging from the roof. The jokers playing around, doing jokes, bands and musicians and stuff. I mean, look at you can tell this was quite opulent because of the window sizes. But, and then you could see you had a lovely view of the river and stuff. I mean, you can see how bloody high that actually is. Wow. And typical British weather, it's starting to rain. And that would have been the grand window there, look. It's just mad, isn't it? It's just crazy. Obviously it's raining, which is really, really good news for my electronics. And then you would have an entry and exit point down there. You can see up there, there's a door. There's still a bloody door. I don't know how old that door is, but there's still a door. Crazy, man. Hey, let's go and have a look around the rest of the castle. So like it says on the thing behind me there, that was the Scotland Hall, or the big hall they've just been in. That was like, the centrepiece of entertainment for the castle. Every time there was a feast on or a banquet or anything like that, they would have it in there. And I think having a big massive hall like that and showing how sort of opulent you were and how rich you were, and it was like a seat of power almost of, look at me, I've got a massive hall where we can all dine, and the king's coming over for dinner type of thing. But yeah, and obviously off that you would have, as it says here, the pantry as a jet flies over the top. You can see that. So this bit here, obviously attached to the Great Hall, there would have been the kitchen, the pantry, and where all the slaves used to make the food and bring it into the posh people in there. And to be fair, they would have had a fantastic view of the bridge down below and the river, which is nearby. Check this out. It's a bloody spectacular view, eh? Just really, really cool view. And obviously the main centrepiece of any castle are the turrets, or I don't know what the hell they're called, the ports, or the tower maybe, like the Tower of London. But the Richmond Castle had a big bloody big turret tower, if you want. And again, that was a sign of how powerful a castle would be. Would have the amount of towers they had, guard towers around. And that is pretty big, man. Let's be honest. It's nearly 1,000 years old, and it's still standing. But on every corner you would see a guard post up there, another one with the door up there, and it'd be dotted around the whole. And obviously the castle is on the high points, the high ground of everything around, really. And just the sheer size of it. I mean, I'll show you from the air what it looks like now. It's the area that it covers is fantastic. Take a look at this. Just a bit of random knowledge that I've just read there. I mean, as you can see there, Robert Baden-Powell, there's a monument to Robert Baden-Powell, who was the founder of the Scout and Guide movements. It says he lived from 1908 to 1910 in the barracks, which temporarily stood upon this site. So I never knew that. Well, so for all of you Scout guides and Gale guides and Scouts out there, this is Robert Baden-Powell stayed here for 2 years in the barracks. Wow. I'm just reading there that this area here was the site of the Great Chapel. So not only did they have the little chapel over there for the Lord and Lady, but they would have had a massive chapel here, the main chapel, and as you can see up there, that is one big window. I would imagine that would have had pane, like pane glass window in there, like you would have seen in the previous chapel in the window, stained glass as they call it, and that's the south gate, the southwestern gate. So you can imagine, you can just imagine, can't you, the hustle and bustle that would have been in this place. I mean, the interior is obviously now all flat and grass, but at the time, the Lord and Lady would have lived, I'm guessing, there would have been more sort of housing and living quarters right in the middle there, away from obviously the outer ring of the castle. But it's amazing, man, it really is. I mean, it's really, really bloody old. Obviously, nearly, it's 950 years old right now. But it's just, I mean, it takes up a commanding position all over the area, the local area, and especially looking out over to the Dales. It's a 360, absolutely 360 view of the Dales, and as the sun comes out, look at that, yay! And obviously you would have seen on the drone they would have had separate castles around, not castles, but towers around, just like recce screens basically, for where if anybody got close they would be picked up first by those guys and then informing these guys. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go in there. So let's go and take a wander around the tower, see what that's like, the Great Tower. Wow. Look at this. So I'm just reading there that this grand tower was built in the 12th century. A couple of hundred years after. It was built on top of the original castle, and it was, like it says, it's an image of power that's portrayed around the area. That look at the size of my great tower. It's huge. I've got loads of power. I've got loads of money, and I've got loads of guards and troops. Check this out, man. We'll go up here. Look, these stairs, it's tight as. Of course, mind your head. You're just getting a sense of the wind blowing through. The wind blowing through here is just, you can imagine, wow, look at this. You can imagine, not having any windows or anything like that covering it. How much the wind blows through there and straight out there. Well, you'd have to have windows. But there you go, this is the Great Hall, apparently. Look at them bloody things up there. Look at the size of them windows. Looking out over Richmond. Jesus. Big centrepiece to keep the place from falling down. It just gives you an idea of how far out you can see. I mean, you can see from miles around. You can see troops coming from miles around. Little rooms. Everywhere there's just little rooms coming off it. And those stairs, there wouldn't have been a bloody barrier then. Imagine how many people have fell down them stairs. But yeah, this would have been the great room, the symbol of power, as it were, for the owners. This was built, like I said, the castle was started to get built in 1870. You go up there, look. But just to give you an overview of the castle from the outside, from up here, I mean, It's huge. It really is. It's probably covering at least a couple of K squared at least. And then you come up onto here where the guards would have been stood. I mean, we're not even halfway up. Look, you can look out over the town of Richmond. Make sure no one's coming to invade. And you see the church over there that I was at yesterday. And you can imagine, you've seen all these films from medieval times where the archers were on the side of here, firing arrows at the enemy coming down. And I would imagine at the time it would have had maybe an external ring of another wall, as you can see there. Oh, where is it? Yeah, there you can see the external wall. It used to be run all the way around the castle. So you had to get through that to then get through this. But you can imagine the guys just all the way along down there. I mean, this thing's, like I said, a symbol of power and a symbol of, how rich and opulent, that's a word I keep using, opulent, the people that used to live here were. Well, it just amazes me how old this place is. Let's keep going up. Let's keep going up. Look at that. Ooh, and the wind again. Jeez, look at these stairs. It's just solid stone. Porthole window. Gee, just carved out. The bloody porthole. Look at this, look. Wow. Look at this, look. This little room's off. Guard area, I suppose, and this would have been the Great Hall. Symbol of power and the centre of the power of these people. You can imagine. There you go, look. Law is power and power is law. And the peasants used to live outside.
Come and see the violence inherent in the system! Help! Help! I'm being repressed! Bloody peasant! Oh, what a giveaway!
I'd probably be classed as a peasant nowadays. But yeah, you can imagine big bloody roof with windows in at the top, windows up there, around. You can imagine the bugles do when they're posh. There you go, look. It says the Great Room was the centre of power for the honour of Richmond and the gathering place for most influential people. The rulers of Richmond Castle sat here as they oversaw their vast estate, hearing complaints, settling arguments, and giving gifts of land. The decoration of this space would have been rich and splendid and powerful. Tapestries, geometric patterns, mythical beasts or scenes from legend. The stone ledge in front of you represents the remains of a raised platform for a throne. The windows on the east wall are offset to provide the best light for scribes to read and write. The side rooms were probably for storage, so there you go, they look, so that would have been raised up and the lord and lady would have sat on that and took people's, like you see, holding court as they used to call it. They would a little peasant like me would come in and say, "Sir, excuse me sir, fucking so-and-so has robbed my cow," and he would say, "Right, no worries. So-and-so, you're now going to get your head chopped off or give him his cow back," basically. That type of stuff, but it's just amazing. It really is amazing. Let's go have a look. For storage and things, look, you can imagine a couple of blokes in here with some arrows, bowing arrows and stuff. You can imagine, like it says there over the wall, the tapestries and things hanging down from the roof and mythical beasts all over the walls and stuff. But we're still not at the top yet. And we go up, I mean, look at that. There's a lot of bloody stairs. Up we go to the top. And we've still got to go up. I mean, look at that. Jesus. You can see out there, look. Other parts. I certainly wouldn't have liked to have attacked this castle. That's for sure. Yes, I'm blowing out my ass. Because there's loads of steps and it's super high up. There we go, at the top, look. That would have looked down into the court, the great room. And there you go, look at that, I tell you. So like I was saying about the external wall, that's it right there. You can see that place just over there, look. That's better. You see the top there of the, just there. And then you had that, the town church, which is the chapel of the Holy Trinity. That is right there. And then over there, like I said, with the church I was at yesterday with the graveyard and stuff, the really old place. That's it right there. Just mad. But you know, it's just the view over the city is just, well, over the town is really cool. Eh? Unbelievable. You can imagine all your guards.
I told them we already got one. Well, can we come up and have a look? Of course not. You are English type, sir. Well, what are you then? I'm French. Why do you think I have this outrageous accent, you silly king? What are you doing in England? Mind your own business.
Yeah, you can imagine the guards up here just, wandering around like I am now. Keeping an eye on all the peasants down below. Because that is some high ass shit. Jeez. Amazing. Mind you, Ed, obviously the people are a lot smaller back then. That's why, that's what. That's about 5'8", roughly, probably, I'd say. So I've got to duck down. So there would have been an abbey, as it says there, right just over there in that field. Right there. So there would have been a gigantic abbey just right there. It's obviously been lost to time now, but you can see as well over there. And there was a priory. There's the priory there. But this, look how far you can see out there. If anyone's coming to get you, you're certainly going to find out soon enough that actually you're going to be spotted from miles around. Woo! It's windy. Don't want to lose my buffalo now, that. Look at that. I mean, you can see. That's something. Whoosh. Drop down again. There you go, look, site of medieval bridge, which is the one that we've seen before down there, and obviously the road to Middleham Castle. And I'm guessing that, yeah, look at that. Again, it just gives you an appreciation of how much these people would have been able to see, and that's why they used to build these so. That's why they used to build these so high, so they can actually see all around the town and the location to make sure no one's coming to attack. Nice. And we go up some more. Look at this. Look how well their stairs are worn. Look at that. Hundreds of years of thousands of people just walk. Oh Jesus, they're so uneven. Just walking up and being able to look out and onto the town down there. Look at that. Just spectacular. Absolutely phenomenal. Well, that's the town, that's the market square there, so that would have been, the centre of hustle and bustle, trade and stuff like that, all the Peasants would sell all their stuff, all the rich people would buy them. But yeah, they're bloody high up. I mean, that's the flag of Richmond Castle, but you can imagine a flagpole would have been up here, and you know, an English flag would have been flying from there, even though it was, you know, like I said, built in Norman times, and it was the Normans that built this castle, or started building it. Ugh. I mean, look at that. Look how you can see how bad they're worn. Jeez. Anyway, let's start going down. Well, would you believe it? In answer to the age-old question, why do you never see baby pigeons? Well, there's one right there, look, with his mum. So the reason why you never see baby pigeons is, what I've asked him for years, is because they're on top of a fucking castle. That's why. That's why you don't see them. Anyway, down we go. Standing here now in this little sort of corner of the tower, of the great tower, is, you know, I've got a porthole there and a porthole there, and obviously down we go, the stairs down to the next level. But you know, you can imagine being a guard or something like just a young soldier, being stood here on guard here, and having to deal with the wind just rushing through your head, you know, and going out one window and into the other. And I could imagine it would be absolutely freezing cold. I would also imagine that he would have had some sort of, you know, fire or something on the wall, like a light, like a firelight. But just, you can feel it now, just coming in, rushing in. I could imagine. It's very powerful. Wow. So like I was saying about the wind is just coming straight up there, man. It's like a bloody wind tunnel. Oh, you can imagine trying to squeeze through this with all your armour on. Jesus, I'm ducking down. I'm having to duck down because this is super low. You can imagine trying to get up here in, you know, at speed, with all your gear on, carrying your shield, carrying your sword, fucking carrying a body armour or stuff like that, you know, chainmail and all that. It's just really heavy, man. Jesus, crazy. And then, you know, to the courtyard. Spectacular. Hopefully you can see that up there. I mean, that's obviously some of the portholes or slits at the side of the castle where you know, arrowers and crossbow guys used to probably sit. I mean, looking at this, there's no way you'd attack from this side. I mean, you've got the river down there and you've got steep embankments going all the way down, so if you're going to attack from this way, you're an absolute lunatic and you're going to probably lose. But as you can see, I mean, look how high that got. That's like probably 100 foot high easily. And obviously the big windows up there was probably the main living quarters and, you know, beds and stuff like that. But as you can see, the portholes and slits, I can't remember what the hell they're called, but just amazing. Phenomenal. I mean, that view there, I mean, look at this view. Jeez. You know, this is the Yorkshire Dales, and Yorkshire, the county of Yorkshire is just absolutely stunning. You know, literally stunning, rolling hills, and it's like the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, but with like more green and more trees, etc. So, but just, I'm sort of taken back by the size of it. It's actually quite large in size, as in, you know, the amount of the area that it covers. You know, and you can see there it's cut out the bedrock, you know, and built the castle on, you know, on bedrock, as it were. But, you know, this is 950 years old in 2021, and it's still all right. Yeah, most of it's crumbled away, but there's still major parts of it left, which is phenomenal. Jesus, if only we could make stuff that lasts 950 years. nowadays. Yeah, look at that, look. I wonder where that goes. Old boozer, proper pub, but yeah, even the town itself is just really old. There's another boozer called the Golden Lion, and right in the centre of the square, if you will, is this. So there you go, that was Richmond Castle. £7.50 to get in. It is a national, obviously, treasure, so that's why you've got to pay to get in, because it's a national historic site. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Sun's on me now, that's better. Yeah, something a little bit different for the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So a few of you guys asked for it to be done from the picture I showed, but like I said, if you enjoyed the video, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please think about subscribing. So anyway, take it easy. Stay safe, be good wherever you are around the world, and remember, you'll never walk alone.